Question 1. So 2 to the power of 4 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. Question 2. So to write a number to 3 decimal places, you're allowed 3 numbers after the decimal point. 1, 2, 3. But with this 4 here, do we round that up, yes or no? Well, we look at the next number. The next number is 5. Question 3. So to simplify in part A, 7 eighths of 56. So it's 56 times E times F. So 56 EF. Now to solve this, choose to multiply both sides by 5 to undo this dividing by 5. So we need to do 2.5 lots of 5. Well, 2.5 lots of 5 is going to be 2 lots of 5 and a half of 5, which is 2. Question 4. So to write as a number as a percentage, we need to have it out of 100. So 4 over 5, we want it to be something out of 100. What do we multiply 5 by to get 100? We multiply it by 20. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by 20. 4 times 20 is 80. So it's 80 over 100, which is an equivalent fraction. So 80 out of 100, that's 80%. Question 5. So 60% of 70. Well, 10% is a tenth. A tenth of 70 is 7. So if 10% is 7, 60% is going to be 6 times as big. 6 times 7 is 42. Question 6. So on the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner will land on a B. Well, the B is 2 out of 4, which is a half. On the probability scale, mark with a cross the probability that the spinner will land on an F. Well, there isn't an F, so that is impossible. So X marks the spot on the 0. Question 7. So, with sausages costing £2.30 a packet, let's assume that they cost £2.30 a packet. So we buy 2 lots of bread rolls, so that's 2 lots of £1.50, which is £3. We buy 1 bottle of ketchup, which is £1.60, and assuming the sausages cost £2.30 each, we need 3 lots of this. Well, I've done that as a little side working over here. 3 lots of £2.30 is £6.90. So if the sausages cost that, that's how much everything's going to cost in total, which is £11.50. Now that is more than £10, so Fahima is not right. Question 8. Well, multiplying fractions is the easy one. It's just top times top, bottom times bottom. 5 3s are 15, 8 4s are 32. Now when we add or subtract fractions, we need to have a common denominator, the same number on the bottom. Now 3 and 4 both go into 12, so 12 will be our common denominator. So we have to change both of these fractions into equivalent fractions, with the denominator being 12. So 2/3 is the same as how many 12ths? Well, to convert that 3 to a 12, we multiply by 4. So we have to multiply the numerator by 4. Question 9. So what is his overtime rate of pay? Well, he gets paid 1 1/4 times his normal pay rate. So 1 1/4 lots of 12. Well, 1 lot of 12 is obviously 12, and 1/4 of 12 is 3. So 1 1/4 lots is going to be 1 1/4, that's £15. So on Monday he works for 10 hours, 8 hours is his standard day, so those 8 hours he's going to get paid at his normal rate of £12 an hour, 8 12s are 96, but for the other 2 hours he's going to get paid at his overtime rate of pay of £15 an hour. So 2 lots of 15, which is 30. So his total pay that day is 96 add 30, which is £126. Question 10. So the number of eggs in 2 boxes is going to be 6 times 2, which is 12. The total number of eggs in the 20 boxes is going to be 6 times 20, which is 120. So if we're comparing eggs, we could say we've got 12 to 120. To simplify this, we divide both sides by 12, which is 1 to 10. Probably even easier is just to focus on the boxes to start with. So we've got 2 boxes to 20 boxes, and then we just divide both of these by 2, giving us 1 to 10. Question 11. So, how many tiles are needed to make pattern number 6? Well, pattern number 1 has got 1 square. Pattern number 2 has got 4 squares. Pattern number 3 has got 9 squares. And what we can see is the pattern number compared to the number of squares we are squaring it. Pattern number 1 has got 1 squared, pattern number 2, 2 squared, pattern number 3, 3 squared. So pattern number 6 is going to have 6 squared number of squares, which is 36. Now moving on to the circular tiles, how many circular tiles are needed to make pattern number 20? So let's try and get a relationship between the pattern number and the number of circles. So pattern number 1 has got 4 circles. Pattern number 2 has got 8 circles. Pattern number 3 has got 12 circles. So how do we go from the pattern number to the number of circles? Well, we're just multiplying by 4. So pattern number 20 is going to have 20 times 4 equals 80 circles. Question 12. So we've got 7 blue, 4 green and 6 red. That's 17 pens in total. Probability of taking a blue pen at random is going to be 7 out of 17, which we can just simply write as a fraction, 7 over 17. Question 13. The man is of average height. Write down an estimate of the real height in meters of the man. So, just got to really just estimate how tall is your average man. He's about 2 meters tall, but anywhere between 1.5 to 2 meters was allowed. Now, for part B, find an estimate for the real height in meters of the tree. So, if we go and just say the height of the man is about 1, and then sort of measuring with a ruler the height of the tree is about 5, we can see that the relationship is this is about 5 times bigger than the height of the man. So we've really just got to take 5 times whatever your answer is to part A. So if your answer to part A is 2 like mine, your answer is going to be about 10, but any answers between 7.5 to 12 meters for the height of the tree were allowed. Question 14. So, if we add up these numbers of students, we can see we've got 120 students in total. Now, to fill a pie chart, we need it to go all the way around this circle. It needs to fill up the full 360 degrees. So how do we compare 120 students to degrees? We can see we need to multiply by 3. 360 divided by 120 is 3. So to convert each of these student numbers into the degrees they get in their pie chart, we times each of them by 3, which are these three numbers here. So then using our protractor, we make sure that the French students have 168 degrees, Spanish students 120, and the German students the 72 degrees. You would only write the bits in red in your answer. I've just put in the degrees in purple to help you understand. Now for part B, Year 9 students from Lowry School were also asked to choose one language to study. This accurate pie chart shows the information about their choice. Question 15. So we're told the area of the rectangle is 6 times the area of the triangle. Okay, so let's start off by working out the area of the triangle. Area of a triangle is half times base times height. So half times 8 times 9, which is 36. Half of 8 is 4, 4 9s are 36. Now the area of the rectangle is 6 times this area of the triangle, so it's going to be 6 lots of 36. I've done that as a side working over here, which is 216. So the area of the rectangle is 216. Now the base of the rectangle is 16. Base times height is the area. So this height, this width of the rectangle is going to be 216 divided by 16. So let's just simplify this down. So if we halve top and bottom again, and again, we see that it's 27 divided by 2, which is 13.5 centimetres. Question 16. So let's substitute in what we know. V equals U, well U is 1, plus A, which is minus 3, times T, which is a half. So what is minus 3 times a half? Well, that's minus 1.5. So we've got 1 minus 1.5, which is minus a half. Question 17. So 5 tins of soup have a total weight of 1750. So 1 tin of soup must have a weight of 1750 divided by 5, which is 350. So 4 tins of soup would be 4 lots of 350, which is 1400. Now we're told that 4 tins of soup and 3 packets of soup have a total weight of 1490, but we've just worked out that 4 tins of soup weigh 1400, so the 3 packets of soup must weigh the other remaining 90. So 3 packets of soup weigh 90, so 1 packet of soup must weigh 90 divided by 3, which is 30. So we now know the price of them individually. So work out the total weight of 3 tins of soup. Well, the 3 tins of soup is going to be 3 lots of 350. And the question 18. So we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So pi, let's use 3.14, and the radius is 10, so it's 3.14 times 10 times 10, which is an area of about 314 meters squared. Now if we had a calculator, we would do 314 and divide this by the 46 meters squared. We're saying we've got that number of meters squared of grass to cover, each box covers this. So that's what we would like to do, but we need to estimate. So rounding each of these rather, to one significant figure, we get 350. 300 divided by 50 is 6 boxes. So we're going to need an estimate of 6 boxes. Now the answer scheme allowed 6 to 8 boxes allowed. Now, do we think our estimate is an underestimate or an overestimate? Well, we think it's going to be an underestimate, because 314 divided by 46 is going to give us a bigger number than 300 divided by 50. I've chosen to make my estimate for the numerator smaller, yet my estimate for the denominator bigger, so my estimate is definitely on the light side. Okay, the number of boxes I'm going to need is going to be probably a bit bigger than 6. Question 19. So for part A, start off by multiplying out the bracket. 4 times x and 4 times minus 5. 4 times x is 4x, 4 times minus 5 is minus 20. So we want all our x's on one side, all the normal numbers on the other. So we're going to choose to add 20 to both sides, giving us 4x equals 38. We then divide both sides by 4, giving us x equaling 38 over 4, which simplifies to 19 over 2, which is 9.5. Now part B, write down all the possible values of t. Well, t is greater than minus 3, but less than or equal to 2, and it is an integer, it is a whole number. So that's going to be minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. So we've included the 2, but we have not included the minus 3. Question 20. So 10% would be a tenth of 1,500, which would be £150. Now 1% would be a tenth of this, so that's £15. So 1% is £15. 3% is going to be 3 times as much as 15, which is 45. So work out how much money they get after the increase. It's going to be 1,500 plus the 45, which is 1545. Question 21. So the outlier is the point that's just so inconsistent with all the other ones. So that's this point here, the coordinate being 10, 19. For all the other points, write down the type of correlation. Well, we can see the slope is going upwards from left to right, so that is positive correlation. Now, on the same day in another British town, the maximum temperature was 16.4. Estimate the number of hours of sunshine in the town that day. Now, to do this, you've got to use a line of best fit. So using a ruler and just judging by eye, you want to do a line through all of these points here, ignoring the outlier. So you've got just as many points sort of to the left of the line as you do to the right. So something like that. Now everybody's line of best fit is going to be a bit different, hence some flexibility in the answers to follow. But once you've got your line of best fit, you've got to use it accurately. Question 22. Well, product of prime factors is the number tree. So two numbers that multiply to be 56, for example 7 and 8. Well, 7 is prime, so that's the end of the line for that, so pop a circle around it. The 8 breaks down to being 2 times 4. 2 is prime, so a circle, and 4 breaks down to being 2 times 2. Both primes are 2 circles. So our final answer is 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. You must remember to put in the multiplication signs because it is a product of its prime factors. Question 23. So my preference is to ignore the decimal points to start with, so do 546 times 43. And I would suggest a grid method. I like the grid method of doing 546 and 43. Cross multiply and then add together these 6 numbers, giving us 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Now where does my decimal point go? Well, estimating this, 54.6 is roughly 50, 4.3 is roughly 4, 50 times 4 is 200. So the answer is going to be, broadly speaking, 200. So my decimal point has to go after the 2, 3, 4. Question 24. So you've got to be ever so careful with these. The temptation is to start trying to solve this, but we're not being asked to solve this. We're being asked to construct this from scratch. So that's going to be our final answer using the facts up here. Now this is a square and we're told that the area of the square is 10. Now the area is base times height. So our base is 3 plus x, 3 plus x, and our height is 3 plus x. So base times height, 3 plus x times 3 plus x has got to equal 10. So multiplying out our pair of brackets, 3 3s are 9, 3 times x is 3x, x times 3 is 3x, x times x is x squared. And what do we know about our area? It equals 10. So this equals 10. So simplifying the left hand side, we've got x squared plus 6x plus 9 equaling 10. Take away 9 from both sides, we get x squared plus 6x equaling 1, which is what we had to show. So to start with, we've got to work out the total length of all this frame. So we've clearly got a 12, a 12, a 5 and a 5. A 12, a 12, a 5 and a 5, and the missing length is the length of this diagonal. Now we can work out this length here using Pythagoras, looking at this triangle here. So we know that this length, which I'm calling x, so x squared equals 5 squared plus 12x from Pythagoras. So x squared equals 25 plus 144, which is 169. Square root this, we get x being 13. So this length of rod is 13. So our total length is 5 add 5 add 12 add 12 add 13, which is 47 meters. Now the weight of the metal is 1.5 kilograms per meter, so I have to multiply this 47 by 1.5. So I need one whole lot of it and a half of it. Half of 47 is 23.5, so 1.5 lots of this is going to be 70.5 kilograms. Question 26. Now to show that these two lines are parallel, we need to show that they've got the same gradient. And the easy way to find the gradient when you've got the lines in equation form is to pop them into y equals mx plus c format. So you have your y first of all equaling so many lots of x and then the c on the end. So with line 1 we can see straight away that our gradient is 3. Y equals mx plus c. 3 is our gradient. The minus 2 would be where the line cut the y-axis. Now with line 2 we need to really rearrange this to get it into a similar format. So let's start off by making 3y the subject. So let's undo the minus 9x and the plus 5 by taking both of these to the other side. So we have 3y equaling 9x minus 5. Now I don't want it to be 3y, I want it to be y, so I'm going to choose to divide both sides by 3. So y equals 3x minus 5 over 3. And now that I've got it into y equals mx plus c format, I can see that its gradient is also 3. So L1 and L2 both have the same gradient of 3, so therefore the two lines are parallel. Question 27. So part A, find in terms of B the vector dB. So going from D to B, well we're going from D to O and O to B, so that's 2 lots of B, so that is 2B. Now for part B we've got to go from A to C, we're going from A to C, so that is a minus, for part B we're going from A to B, so we've got to go from A to B and we go down here and then up here. So that's a minus A, because we're going down that the wrong way, and then a plus B. Now for part C, we've got to go from A to D, we've got to go from here to here. So we're going down this the wrong way, so that's a minus A, and then we're also going down here the wrong way, so a minus B, minus A, minus B. And again, just to clarify, because I didn't make it clear at the beginning, because we've been told that O to A is A, that O to A is the same vector as going from C to O, so C to O is also vector A. Similarly, because O to B is vector B, D to O is also a vector B. Same direction, same length.